Welcome to the channel. I'm Tony the Technician, and today we're going to be going into the Harbor Freight website and checking out 5 of the most popular breaker bars. And then we're also going to be going over one that I would like your guys' opinion on if you guys have used them or thought about purchasing them. So we're going to be going over a couple different brands. They have many others available. I just kind of picked the 5 most popular ones, the ones with the most reviews, and the ones that people talk about the most. So first up is the Pittsburgh Pro 3/8 drive 17-inch breaker bar. This is actually a breaker bar that I do have. This one's nice because I keep it in my vehicle most of the time when I'm going off-roading. It's a little bit more compact. If I have to use it with a 1/2-inch fastener, I always keep an adapter with me. Now, there are 2 different designs for the heads. You have the Y on the actual handle portion, and then you have the Y on the drive portion. And what I mean by that is this portion here. I prefer it where the Y is on the handle, just personal preference. That's the way all of my breaker bars have always been, so that's kind of why I prefer it. I know others do prefer the Y portion being on the drive side of it, but let me know your guys' thoughts on which one you guys prefer. This one is 17 inches long. It is $13, so very affordable. Decent length to it, not the longest 3/8 breaker bar, but very, very handy for leaving in a vehicle or taking with you anytime you go on a road trip or anything like that. While you still have plenty of length for torque, you also don't run into it being too long for certain situations where it's just going to get in the way a lot of the time. And here's just a little bit of information on it if you guys would like to pause and read. But this one does have 4.5 stars with a 92% customer recommendation with 1,799 reviews. Next up, we're looking at the other style. This one is the 1/2-inch drive Pittsburgh Pro. This one's 25 inches long. Being a 1/2-inch drive, you want a little bit more length for more torque. This is the one with the Y on the actual drive side. The head's a little bit bigger here. Let me know your guys' thoughts. Once again, which design you prefer. This one is at $18, so still priced very, very well. Neither of these that we've looked at have the comfort grip, just your standard handle. Nothing wrong with that. Just some good affordable breaker bars. I keep wanting to say pry bars. Once again, with your breaker bar, you should have at least 180 degrees of swivel. Sometimes you get a little bit more than that. And there's the specifications on it. And this has 4.8 stars with 98% customer recommendation and 3,246 reviews, so rated very highly and rated a lot. Also keep in mind that these have been around or in Harbor Freight quite a bit longer than some of the other brands like CONT that we're going to go over here in a minute. Next up, we're looking at the most popular Pittsburgh breaker bar, or most popular breaker bar at Harbor Freight. This is the 1/2-inch drive 25-inch breaker bar with the comfort grip at $22. Sometimes you can even get it cheaper than that, obviously with coupons and stuff like that. But for being right around the $20 price range, this is by far one of the best breaker bars you can get. Now, is it the best, highest quality? No, it's not. You can definitely get much nicer breaker bars, but they do cost quite a bit more. So I think this is the best bang for your buck comfort grip breaker bar available. Once again, it's 1/2-inch drive, so you got a little bit extra length there with 25 inches, so plenty of length there, plenty of torque, nice comfort grip handle. The first one and this one, the 3/8 breaker bar and this breaker bar are the 2 that I have from Harbor Freight. I also have a Matco as well. Here's a little bit of information on it. Once again, very, very simple tool breaker bar. You literally have a steel shaft with a swivel end, and this does have the Y portion in the handle or shaft of the breaker bar. And this has 4.8 stars with a 98% customer recommendation with 3,486 reviews. So once again, another one rated very highly and rated a lot. A lot of people use these for many, many years. They've been around quite a while. It's just a good, reliable, affordable breaker bar. Next up, we were looking at the CONT's equivalent of the Pittsburgh one. Is it the exact same? No, it is not. Is the CONT one overpriced? I believe so. I don't think $45 is a horrible price because some of the higher end breaker bars can get quite a bit more expensive. But I think this could still be priced a little bit better. Same length as the Pittsburgh one. Once again, 1/2-inch drive, 25 inches long. This one does have the comfort grip. The comfort grip is going to be a little bit nicer than the Pittsburgh. The same design with the Y on the shaft or the handle of the breaker bar. Once again, very, very simple tool, so not much you can improve except for the quality of material, the comfort grip, the joint strength. The thing is, the Pittsburgh one is fantastic for that $20 price range. This is a fantastic breaker bar as well. I just don't think it's as great of a deal at $45 as the Pittsburgh one. The difference being the Icon one is slightly larger in diameter. It's not noticeable by much, but it is slightly larger than the Pittsburgh one. So it is probably going to be able to handle a little bit more torque without as much flex. The weak point being those Ys. Not saying that any of these breaker bars are weak, but they will become weak at a certain point, and that will most likely be the failing point, is the joint there. So this one probably can handle a little bit more torque. It's got a little bit more diameter to it. So I think it's a great pry bar. I think it would be much, much more competitive if it was priced around the $30 to $35 price range, just because there's not enough of a difference in such a basic tool to justify the price difference. If I went into Harbor Freight 100 times and saw these next to each other, I would buy the Pittsburgh 100 times, just because for the price, that Pittsburgh one is just fantastic. Now, that's just my personal opinion. If you guys enjoy the Icon, nothing against you. If you want to purchase it, nothing against you. I still think it's a decent deal at $45. I just think it could be way more popular and way more desirable around the $30 to $35 price range, just because there's not that big of a difference. But that's just my personal opinion. So here's the information on it. The specifications. This has 4.9 stars at 100% customer recommendation and 256 reviews. So not quite as many reviews. This tool obviously has not been out nearly as long as the Pittsburgh. So if it was released around the same time, we may have a little bit better or closer review comparison amount. But I still think the Pittsburgh one is just the better overall deal. Unless you are very, very, very abusive to your breaker bars, then maybe the Icon would be a little bit better there for the strength portion of it. And then they also have available their 3/8 drive 13-inch breaker bar, so a little bit shorter breaker bar here. I think this would be fantastic for a vehicle. 3/8 drive, 13 inches, still not bad, very compact. $30, not terrible. Probably better around the 22 to 25. I mean, who's going to argue, with better pricing? But in reality, we're not going to see better pricing. We can always wish, though. But I think it's a good size. You got the comfort grip there, a little bit better quality comfort grip. Once again, the Y on the shaft side of the breaker bar. A little bit of information there and its specifications. And then this one is 4.9 stars with 100% customer recommendation with 71 reviews. And then the last one that I wanted to talk about isn't necessarily one with the most reviews. It does have a decent amount of reviews. Is the Ratcheting breaker bar. My thoughts on it personally, when I think breaker bar, I think something that doesn't have a ratcheting mechanism, something that is just one less thing to possibly fail, because normally in a ratcheting, ratcheting wrench, ratchet, anything like that, the most common failure point is the ratcheting mechanism or the drive portion on the ratcheting mechanism. And I don't know how I feel about ratcheting breaker bars. I completely understand them, because sometimes when you're going to use a breaker bar, it can be a real pain in certain tight situations or awkward angles, and having that ratcheting mechanism would be extremely handy. But at that point, I might as well just grab a big 1/2-inch drive ratchet, because I don't personally understand it. I mean, I get that you got the whole 180-degree swivel, which is nice. I feel mixed about the ratcheting breaker bar. You got decent length here with the 3/8 drive version. This one does have the Y portion on the drive side or the ratcheting side of the breaker bar. They also have many other pry bars, like I stated earlier, extendable ones, different lengths, drive sizes, all of that. It has a reversible feature, ratcheting mechanism. I cannot find anywhere where it says the tooth count on. I'm expecting a lower tooth count, hoping for a little bit more durability or strength in the ratcheting mechanism, possibly. Some pretty large teeth to handle the torque. But once again, this one is only 18 inches, so you're not applying a whole lot of torque to it. But that's just something I think about when I think breaker bars. I think a non-ratcheting, something that I can apply a lot of torque to, something that, is just going to have to take the abuse. And I don't think ratcheting mechanism when I think that. So this one has 4.2 stars at 85% customer recommendation with 653 reviews. And that is kind of what I would be afraid of, is the failure there at the ratcheting portion. Looks like that seems to be the common breaking point of that tool. $20 if you're one that finds yourself using a breaker bar fairly often and in awkward situations. I still think this could be a handy tool. This just isn't what I desire when I go for a breaker bar. Let me know your guys' thoughts on the 5 that we went over from Pittsburgh and Icon, and then also your thoughts on the ratcheting breaker bar. If you were to go with a ratcheting breaker bar, which one would you recommend? Not just from Harbor Freight, but any brand in general. I'd like to hear your guys' input. So if you guys enjoyed, please make sure to smash that thumbs up. Leave a comment down below of your guys' thoughts. And as always, if you haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.